What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? How are you guys doing? We recently did a video just talking about the newly released Garmin Forerunner 945. And in this video, we're just gonna go through the initial setup process of that particular watch, just so you're familiar with what you're getting yourself into if you're looking to set up this watch for yourself. To set up your new Garmin 945, the first thing you'll do is select the language, which in my case is English. The next question for you will be to pair with your phone, and that is definitely the easiest thing to do. And it'll suggest that you download the Garmin Connect mobile application. And there are two Garmin mobile applications that you should probably pick up. One is the Garmin Connect IQ app, and the main one that you'll be using is called the Garmin Mobile Connect app. I already have this application installed, and when you open this application, the easiest thing to do is to go to the More tab, which is on the far right corner. Scroll down and look for Garmin Devices. Click on Garmin Devices, and then one of your options is Add Devices down at the bottom. If you click this, it'll begin searching for your Garmin Forerunner 945. That'll just take a quick second to find it. Make sure that you have Bluetooth enabled and that you've allowed the Garmin Connect app to use Bluetooth on your device. And then you should get a pop-up asking you to pair your Garmin 945 with your device. One of the things you can do is set it to your preferred activity tracker, which I would like to do in this case. Currently my 935 is set up as my preferred activity tracker, and I think I'll give the 945 a go. For me, it only took about 20 or 30 seconds to have that initial pairing. And then here it's just asking me a couple of personal questions to finish the setup. When do I fall asleep? I usually fall asleep putting my kids to bed. Want to receive notifications between these times? I do not. Send your training data to your new device? Yes. Although your watch is all set up and functional, there are a couple of other things that you can do to continue the setup process. And the Garmin Connect app has these 6 suggestions for starting. The first one is music. And to set up music, you'll need to set up Wi-Fi. So let's add a network, and we'll add my home network. So the watch itself will test connecting to the Wi-Fi network. And when that's completed, you can go back to the music section, and you can see which music apps you have or install new music applications. In this case, the one that I use is Spotify, and that's probably the one that you guys are going to want to use as well. You'll need to be on the home screen when you're syncing music to your device, and it may ask you to sign into your Spotify account to sync your music. For me, it just said that it couldn't sync music if the battery was below 50%. When you guys open your Garmin box, that might be the case for you as well. So I've plugged it into a USB charger here just to see if it will sync. One of the things you can do is you can see which music my kids have been listening to lately, and you can sync this to the watch. Okay, I kind of want to try syncing a podcast as well. So if we just go back and scroll down to the bottom of the list, you'll see workouts and lastly podcasts. And if you are following any podcasts on Spotify, they'll show up on this list here. In this case, I'm following a podcast called The Dialed Podcast, which all of you guys should subscribe to. And we'll go ahead and see if we can download the latest podcast. At the top of the list is the latest podcast number 67. So I'll go ahead and add that to my watch here. And again, we have our syncing process, which means our watch is connecting to the Wi-Fi network of the house and downloading this particular podcast episode. This podcast is about an hour and a half. It'll take a little less than 2 minutes to download, but that's going to vary widely depending on your particular network speeds. And when you select the play button, also by selecting the top right-hand corner button, you'll actually be asked to connect headphones to start listening. To connect a pair of headphones, you'll need to put your headphones in pairing mode. You should see your headphones pop up under Headphones Found. You'll press the top right button to add those particular headphones. And again, the top right button is the play button as well as the pause button.
Shut up and sit down.
And the next suggested item for setup is adding Garmin Pay, which I know is probably not going to work with my particular credit card and my particular banking information, but we'll take a look at it just for completeness. And this setup process primarily takes place on your phone and then syncs over to your particular Garmin watch. You'll be asked for a passcode, and then you select card type, agree to the terms and conditions, and then finally you're asked to put in your credit card information. And on this screen, you can either enter a card number or you can scan your card. And once you've entered your credit card information, you may get a message like this one saying that the issuing bank is not yet participating in Garmin Pay. But I'll leave a link below to Garmin's list of participating banks. And the list isn't that bad. There's quite a few large banks that work with Garmin Pay, and they're adding banks all the time. So be sure to check out the banks and credit cards that are in your country before getting like super excited about this feature. And I'll also put that same link in the description to this video. Okay, the last two things that we need to set up are incident detection and assistance and live track. Again, we'll use our Garmin Connect app to set both of these two things up. And the two things that it'll ask you is your name and where you're from and your emergency contact information. And if you've had emergency contacts set up on your Garmin Connect application from any of your other devices, that information will be used as a default. You can add an emergency contact via adding their phone number or their email address. You'll be allowed to have 3 people be notified via text message or email if an incident occurs or assistance is needed. To set up live track, you'll get a list of your devices and then you'll select which device that you would like to use for live track. You can set it to auto start if you would like live tracking to send out an email, Twitter, or send information to a group of your recipients each time that you start an activity. Or you can manually start a live track activity by hitting this blue live track button. To finish incident detection and assistance, all you'll need to do is sync your Garmin 945 one last time. And that should pretty much cover all the items that are suggested by the Garmin Connect app as far as setting up this new Forerunner 945. So with that setup complete, you should be ready to get out there and give this watch a go. And if you're into that sort of stuff, and that would be like swimming, biking, or running, consider subscribing to this channel. There's a subscribe button below, and there's also a notification bell next to that. And that just allows you to be notified of whenever I post new videos, which I typically try to post about once a week. All right, guys, thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and we will see you guys on the next one.